We've just finished going over hue, saturation, and color balance. So next up, I want to talk about targeted adjustments, such as dodging and burning. And then I also want to mention converting to black and white or desaturating an image to mimic black and white. And then finally, how to save the file format. So let me come back to this earlier image we were in. And let me show you where the dodge and burn tools are. So on the toolbar over here, down towards the bottom, I'll see either something that looks like a little wand or a little hand. So on any of these tools, if you click and hold down, you can see the tools that are underneath. You can also see what the hotkey for this tool is. So in this case, the hotkey is O. So if I was using another key and I just typed the O on the keyboard, that would jump me down to that tool. So it's not Command O, it's just O all by itself. So I'm going to choose the dodge tool here. And then I want to look at the control strip up at the top. So this first piece here gives me the brush size. And I could make that smaller or I could make that larger. But even easier for doing that is using the square bracket key on the keyboard. So if I hold down the right square bracket, it makes the brush larger. The left square bracket, it makes it smaller. So that's on the upper right on the keyboard next to the P, like Peter key. So right makes it larger. Then next up, I want to choose what it is that I'm lightening. So in this case, when I'm lightening something, I don't want to lighten the shadows because that's just going to take the stuff that really should be black and make that lighter, which is just going to make it look dull. So I either want to lighten the highlights, the things that are already pretty light. That'll make things kind of sparkle or pop. Or I want to adjust the midtones. So just like levels, midtones are an advantage in that it can lighten an area that might be dark, but it'll leave the areas that really should be in shadow to be believable. I can adjust this as I go, so I can do a little bit of a spot treatment. So it's just if I want to see a little bit more detail in what's happening in these shadow areas. So in this case, it becomes a little bit like painting. Like, what do I want to see a little more detail of? And so that is my dodge. Maybe I'll do a little bit more in here. It kind of brightens the color a bit too. And then if I wanted to compare and contrast, I could look at my history palette here at when I started the dodging versus where I am now. And this is where you can use the Command Z. It'll take me back and forth between those 2 points. And then I want to end at the one that's the furthest down here. And then let's take a look at burning. So I'm going to switch over to the burn tool. Same things apply, brush size, can still use the bracket tool to adjust the size there. Okay, looks like I accidentally did an adjustment there. And it's taking a moment to catch up. Then next to that, you have the what it is that you want to lighten, whether it's the midtones, highlights, or shadows. So in this case, you're making things darker. So again, you want to make the things darker that are already somewhat dark. So that would be either making the shadows even darker or the midtones. Let me try the shadows here, make this brush a little bit larger, and let me see what might I want to make. I'm not sure, but I do know besides shadows in the midtones, if I want to spot treat the sky, just to bring out a little more drama in the sky area. And you're trying to make this look natural. You don't want to see, so you have to kind of cross over between the stuff that you're lightening and the stuff that you're not, and you might have to go back and forth between some dodging and some burning. And then if I've done that to the midtones, maybe I'll do a little bit to the shadows of the sky. And then I could switch back over to the dodge tool, maybe lighten this a little bit. And now let me look at where I started and where I am now. So it should still look believable and realistic, but it's really like putting the finishing touches on it to give it that extra wow factor.